So let's bring in Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu right now. Mr. Prime Minister, thanks so much for the time. First off, we've been seeing the funeral of the Ayatollah, who was killed in the initial strikes of the battle in Operation Epic Fury. What is your takeaway from the turnout and the fact that it was attended by Saudi Arabia, Oman, as well as Qatar? They sent delegations.
Look, Iran is a nation of about 90 million. About 80% of them hate this regime and would like to see it gone. But you still have, quite a few million, a minority that they can bring to the streets. And what do they shout in the streets? I don't know if you heard this, Brian. They were shouting, death to Trump, death to me, of course, but death to Trump. We have to kill Trump, death to America. This is what is the face of this minority that has taken over, hijacked this talented people, the Iranian people, the people who fight for freedom, have been massacred on the streets for freedom. So I think that if the Iranian people were given a chance, they'd throw these bums out. And I think we have to recognize that. They are not America's friend. And we should not let them have nuclear weapons or the means to deliver them, both to us, but also to you. That's very, very dangerous. So this is a battle of freedom versus fanaticism. And the fanaticism can be seen on the streets of Iran. As far as the countries that go there, well, I think there's sort of a kind of a betting on hedging bets, but I think most people understand that the positive force for good, including the countries that went there, the positive force for good, for security and prosperity in the Middle East is not with Iran. It's the countries that stand against Iran, and that's the United States and Israel, whose brave soldiers fought shoulder to shoulder to cut down Iran's nuclear threat and their ballistic missile threat.
What people should realize, and they probably realize, don't want to say it, you would not be attacking a single nation that wasn't attacking you. If you're not under threat, if you're not threatening Israel, you're not going to have a problem with Israel. People seem to miss that point. The other thing is, we've had over 13,000 strikes on them. You've had over 8,000 strikes on them. Why is that government still standing?
Because it has a few 100,000 goons who murder in broad daylight and at night. They murder their own people. They've murdered and maimed over 40,000 of their own citizens. And I think that's the reason they're in power. That's the same is true in Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is one of their proxies of Iran's fanatic regime's proxy in Lebanon. They also threatened to kill the Lebanese who want them out. The Lebanese government said they want them out. They're threatening them at the point of a gun. And the same is true of Hamas, their other proxy in Gaza. They just murder. They shoot people in the back of the heads if they refuse to accept their tyrannical rule. So this is a regime based on tyranny and terror. It has an axis of terror based on tyranny and terror. And the ones that have been fighting it is Israel and the United States. And I very much appreciate the fact, especially on, we're celebrating now 250 years of America's independence. America's been a tremendous force for good, and without America, there won't be any democracy in the world, and there won't be any freedom in the world. So I salute America on its 250th birthday.
Mr. Prime Minister, is the relationship with the president under strain right now? He's been pretty direct in some of his criticism of you and as Israel, some of the aggression against Hezbollah. And your thoughts about that?
Yes. Well, first of all, we see eye to eye on just about everything. And sometimes, as happens among the best of allies, and we are the best of allies, there can be differences of opinion. We usually speak about it in open conversation. You can imagine the president has his way of expressing things, and so do I. But we are, we're allies. We're your model ally. And we respect the United States of America. And if you come to Israel, it is the one nation here in this region that is not only a democracy, but a democracy in which the overwhelming majority of the people unabashedly support the United States of America. So my relationship with the president is fine, and we have a way of ironing out our differences as allies who respect each other.
So what do you look to accomplish? I hear you're coming to visit. What do you expect to accomplish with the president?
Well, we haven't yet set a date for the visit, but I'd like to see the peace with Lebanon advance, just as we advanced together, President Trump and I, the Abraham Accords, which brought 4 peace agreements that nobody believed were possible. We brought them together. And I think that the fact that we basically hammered the Iranian regime, we've weakened it substantially, and that opens up the path for some other peace deals. That's what I'd like to advance. The other thing I'd like to say, because we're on the verge of the president's going to Turkey, look, Turkey is a great country, but it's governed by a man who calls openly for the annihilation of Israel. He occupies half of Cyprus, a NATO country. He's threatening Greece, another NATO country, and he talks openly about conquering Jerusalem. His foreign minister, his number two, said that the Jewish state hasn't a place among humanity. Basically, it has to be wiped out. His interior minister, said he looks forward to be the governor of Jerusalem. Well, for a regime infected by the Muslim Brotherhood, an extreme movement that hates America and chants death to America from that side of the spectrum, I don't think they should be given F-35s or the engines for their fighter jets, because that'll upset the power balance in the Middle East, which is ultimately guaranteed by Israeli air superiority and also by, I think, by America's posture in the Middle East.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. Plus, they have the Russian missile defense. So why would we give them an opportunity to plot and plan against it? And lastly, they're also financing Hamas, and you guys know that. So they might have helped, but they're financing Hamas, right?
They finance Hamas, they harbor Hamas, they roll out the red carpet for Hamas. They're in fact supporting the bad guys. And they didn't lift a finger to help you in Iran. We did. We're the model ally that fought next to your great soldiers. There is, I think, as Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, said, these are the two fighting allies. And I think it's a remarkable partnership. Right. Do we have some disagreements from time to time? Yep. Yeah, sure. But we work them out because we're allies. And we share not only common interests, we share common values. America has been the defender of freedom for 250 years, and Israel appreciates that because we're a free, independent country.
And, Mr. Prime Minister, you do know this country very well. You went to college here. Thanks so much for all you do. I appreciate this alliance, and thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.